Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another session of our Surah series where we are exploring the meanings, the context, and the important themes and lessons of Quran. So today we'll focus on Surah Al-Ikhlas. That's one of the most powerful yet the most concise chapter of Quran. So this surah, if you see, despite being just 4 verses only, it carries, the weight of 1/3 of the Quran in terms of its meaning. So powerful surah it is. The question is, why is it so important? What does it teach us about Allah and monotheism? That is Tawheed. So that's exactly what we are trying to explore in this session. So if you look at the overview of this surah, it's the 112th surah, and there are only 4 verses, as I told you, which is revealed in Makkah, of course. And then the meaning, if you see, that's the purity or sincerity. So the meaning of al-ikhlas, it's actually purity or sincerity. The other names of the surah is Tawheed Surah, because I told you it is declaring the oneness of Allah. Allah is one, or the God is one. So you worship only single God concept. That's what monotheism. Okay. And then Surah At-Tajreed. So the chapter of absolute uniqueness of Allah. So these are the other two names, if you see. And if you look at the significance in Islamic practice, so the Prophet Muhammad said that, reciting this surah is equal to reciting 1/3 of Quran. And that's why you see you reciting the surah again and again in different situations and scenarios. So it is commonly recited in all salah, and when you wake up, when you sleep, before sleeping, for protection and everything. If you look at the historical background, so this surah was revealed when the Qurayshi asked the Prophet, describe your Lord. So the surah served as a direct and clear answer, and that's actually refuting or challenging the polytheistic belief and also affirming Allah's absolute oneness. So this surah is all about, you're challenging the polytheism. That means belief in multiple gods or belief in idols and other things. And you are, claiming, or this is proving or affirming that God is one and there is only single God, and that's Allah. There is no idol worship. So monotheism means belief in single God. So that's the importance or the significance of the surah actually. Now, if you look at the verse by verse explanation, Kul Hu Allahu Ahad, the first one, it says Allah, He is Allah, He's the one, right? So this verse actually declared Tawheed. This is the first verse, and where Tawheed is declared, the absolute oneness of Allah. Allah is one and Allah is unique. So with no partners, no equals, and no divisions, no subdivisions, no idols, nothing. So Allah is one and Allah is unique, in terms of everything, and there is no partners, there is no equals, and there is no subdivisions, no divisions, nothing, right? So there are no branches also. So it actually refutes very clearly the belief in polytheism. Polytheism means belief in multiple God or belief in idols, right? And the idea that Allah could have a partner, the son or helper, nothing. There is no one as a helper of Allah. So if you are, coming across with some people who's a helper, nothing. There is nothing like that. And it's very, very clear in the surah. Next verse, if you see, Allah, the absolute, that means eternal refuge. Allahu Samad. So Allah, the absolute. So as Samad means that Allah is completely independent, yet all creation depends on him. He is independent. All other creations are dependent on him, and he is free from any needs. There is no such need. He does not eat, he does not sleep, nor require any kind of assistance. Every living being, in fact, depends on Allah for sustenance and subsistence, guidance, and existence also. So Allah is independent. Every creatures are dependent on him. The third one, if you see, he neither begets nor is he begotten. So lam yalid walam yulad. He neither begets nor is he begotten. So Allah has no children, no parents, or lineage. Lineage means that inheritance, the line in which you inherit. No parents, no children, no lineage, independent, single, no partner, no divisions, no subdivisions, nothing. So this directly refutes the belief that actually suggests Allah has son, as claimed by some religion. No. It also means Allah is eternal. He was never born and will never die. He's eternal. So I hope that is also clear. The next one, the fourth one, There is no one equal to him. Walam yakullahu kufuwan ahad. So there is no one actually equal to him. So no one and nothing in creation can be, compared to Allah. So there is no question about that. There is no point in me discussing about that. He's beyond all human limitations, all kind of human imaginations, and there is no such physical characteristics in which with which you can explain also. Allah is one of a kind, unmatched in power, unmatched in wisdom and existence. There is no physical characteristics, there is no limitations, there is no imaginations, there is no restrictions. It's completely independent. All other living beings or non-living beings, whatever you see in this universe, dependent on Allah. Now, if you look at the key themes of this surah, clearly talking about pure monotheism that affirms Allah's oneness, Tawheed. So God is single. There is no concept of multiple gods. There is no concept of idol worship. You worship only Allah. That's what pure monotheism. And then Allah's self-sufficiency. And then no human-like attributes. And then refuting all these false beliefs. So pure monotheism and then self-sufficiency also I have already explained. He's a source of everything but needs nothing. He is independent. Everyone depends on him. And then again, no human-like attributes. Allah is beyond any kind of human relations, any kind of forms and limitations, and refute all the false beliefs, like denies very clearly polytheism, idol worship, and misconception about God. Like some people are saying that Allah has son. No. Okay. What are the lessons that you can learn from this? Strengthen our faith in Tawheed, single God. Reciting and understanding this surah will actually help you to strengthen your belief in Allah and absolute oneness. And then it reminds us to rely only on Allah in terms of everything, in times of difficulty, and you pray only single God. You won't ask help from no other. Okay, so of course you will have to reject the false ideas about God. Many cultures associate, various divine attributes with human-like qualities. Islam make it very clear. Allah is beyond imagination. Allah is beyond comparison. You cannot compare. The culture brings with some personalities and other things, and you start talking about your problems to that people. They themselves have problem and they cannot solve. How can they solve your problem? And then only seek refuge in Allah. So since Allah is as-Samad, we should turn to Him for help, not to others. If it is monetary and other things, and if your relations can solve that, then it's better. Otherwise, it's only Allah who can help you, who can guide you, who can protect you. He is the ultimate creator, and of course, He is the protector. So it's a very powerful surah for your daily life. The Prophet encouraged reciting it in Salah and before sleeping, whenever possible. You recite the surah, and it's equivalent to reciting 1/3 of Quran. It serves as a means of protection from any kind of harm, and it helps you to save from any kind of harm. So why this is equal to 1/3 of Quran? This is the question, right? So I told you already, it's talking about Tawheed, right? That's the oneness of Allah, single God concept, and then prophethood and guidance, and we talk about laws, ethics, and the afterlife. So Surah Al-Ikhlas, if you see, it covers Tawheed so comprehensively that it is considered equivalent to 1/3 of the entire Quran. So if you see, I'm talking about Quran, the three aspects, three dimension. If you look at Quran, it's actually divided into or three main themes. First, it talk about oneness of Allah, and then Quran give you idea about prophethood and guidance, and then the other dimensions of Quran is actually talking about laws, right? That you need to follow, the ethics in your life, and it is also talking about afterlife. So this is how Quran, you can see the major three themes in Quran, out of which Tawheed is covered completely here, and that's why we are saying if you divide Quran into three main themes, one is completely covered over here in this surah. That's why it is equivalent to 1/3 of entire Quran. Now, what are the practical applications of Surah Al-Ikhlas? Recite it regularly. Prophet used to recite it in sunnah prayers and before sleeping in all salah, and use it in dhikr. That's when you remember Allah. That's a kind of remembrance of Allah, right? Reciting it it help you to get immense reward. It brings immense reward. So teach it to others also. It's a very simple yet powerful way to understand Islamic monotheism. So you can teach it to others. It's a very simple 4 verses only. So if you understand the meaning, you can of course teach it to Allah. And then what are the common misconceptions which are addressed by the surah? See, I told you, God has son or a human form. This is a misconception. Some religions believe that God, Allah have son. No, it has been very clear. The surah is making it very clear that Allah neither begets nor is begotten. So no son, no equals, no lineage, right? Nothing. So that misconception is clear. Again, the next another one is there are many gods or intercessors which is required. That means the belief in polytheism, the belief in idol worship, etc. So here it is very clear: Allah is one and has no equal. There is one God that you worship, nothing else. He alone is a source of all help that you're looking for. So this is all about this surah, and this is a very powerful declaration of monotheism or Tawheed, and in fact, a reminder of Allah's unmatched greatness in just 4 verses, and it summarized the essence of Islamic belief. The core of Islamic belief is in that the belief in one God, the monotheism, and that entirely summarized in this particular surah. So let's make a habit to reflect on this surah daily, recite it with understanding, knowing the meaning, and apply its lessons in our lives. So if you find this beneficial, you share it with your friends also. So that's about this session. May Allah help us all. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.